What if God could feed a stadium full of people with just one small lunch? That's exactly what Jesus did. And it reveals something powerful about how God works in our lives. Today's devotion comes from Matthew 14:19-21, where Jesus performs one of his most well-known miracles, feeding thousands with just a few pieces of food. It is so easy for us to doubt and struggle to trust God. When we look at our problems, our needs, or the limited resources we have, it can feel impossible. We often think, how could this situation ever change? But in this passage, Jesus teaches us something powerful about trusting God. The Bible tells us that Jesus fed 5,000 men, not even counting the women and children, with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Think about that for a moment. It's almost impossible to imagine. This would be like feeding an entire stadium full of people with a lunch that might barely feed 4 men. From a human perspective, it simply could not be done. But Jesus used this miracle to demonstrate something important. God's power is not limited by what we see. Nothing is impossible for God. But notice something very important that Jesus did before distributing the food. Before the miracle happened, Jesus gave thanks to God. He lifted the bread to heaven and prayed a blessing over it. This is such a powerful lesson for us. Before the multiplication, before the miracle, there was gratitude and faith. Jesus shows us that we are to give thanks to God for what we have, even when it feels small or insufficient. Sometimes we look at what we have and think it isn't enough. Maybe we feel we don't have enough strength, enough resources, enough opportunity, or enough answers. But when we place what little we have into God's hands and trust Him, He can multiply it in ways we could never imagine. Now, God does not promise riches or worldly abundance, but He does promise something even greater: His faithful provision. God promises to provide what we truly need. If you need strength, God can multiply your strength. If you need courage, God can multiply your courage. If you need wisdom, peace, or hope, God can provide more than enough to help you overcome whatever you are facing. The key is this: we must trust Him. Just like the disciples placed the bread and fish in Jesus' hands, we must place our worries, fears, and needs into God's hands. When we surrender our burdens to Him, we open the door for God to work in ways we cannot see. And often, the miracle begins with something very simple: faith and gratitude. So today, whatever you are facing, remember this truth: nothing is impossible for God. Trust Him with what you have, even if it seems small. God is still the God of miracles, and He is able to multiply what you place in His hands. If today's devotion encouraged you, please share this video with someone who might need this reminder of God's provision. And may God bless you today. May He fill your heart with peace, strengthen your faith, and multiply the strength and courage you need for whatever lies ahead. And remember, nothing is impossible for God.